Okay, hi, this is Linda. Today I'm interviewing Susie Iliyan from Nigeria, here being my guest at White Loge. Susie is an international television host and news anchor. She made a lot of experience all over the world, and today I would like to introduce her to you guys and have a bit questions. So, Susie, how's your day been for so far?
Ooh, it's been super powerful. I had some delicious coffee and I did my first time doing my own yoga that I created myself for fitness and
Okay.
yoga. And I had a very, very, very powerful meditation, which
Oh,
really helped me to feel centered and to remember my true essence, which is love vibration. So it was really been amazing. And now
okay.
I get to speak to you.
Yeah, okay. You're into spiritual. Okay, that's great because myself, I mean, I believe in Jesus Christ, so I kind of understand what you're talking about. Okay, you're an international television host, as I said, and a news anchor. You currently live in Nigeria. Tell me, where did your journey start?
Whew. I'm sure it started from before I was born, but I would say to get onto the track of television and entertainment, I always had it in my heart that I loved being on stage. I discovered it when we used to go to those school dances when we were kids. And, I would start doing my moves and people would make a circle. And I was like, oh my God, this feels amazing. So that's when I realized, like, I love to be on stage and stuff like that. But, culture doesn't really allow for that. It's not like we want, some Arab families are more traditional and they don't want their daughters to be dancing in front of people on stage for more like a quiet life.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew that there's no way I could do that as a, but when your heart and your destiny is meant for something, nothing can really hold you back.
Exactly.
So I moved to Montreal, and as a student, I discovered I loved to dance in clubs and stuff like that. And I discovered breakdancing. And
Oh,
a few of us girls were just like, oh, do you want to learn what those guys are doing? And I was like, yeah, I want to learn what those guys are doing. Eventually, we started the first female breakdance crew in Montreal.
hmm.
And then we grew to 15 women. And then we had shows that were sold out, and the line was around the block. And I didn't even understand what we were doing. I just loved to dance. And people were like, interviewing us, how does it feel to be making waves for the females in the breakdance community? And I was
Uh-huh.
like, oh, it feels good. And that became something that, I was like, I didn't know I was going to do it as a profession. I really didn't plan it. I didn't study it. I'm just a street dancer who loves dance. And then I injured myself and had some titanium pins put in my shoulder as a result of one of my shows. And, my girlfriend was telling me, come to Dubai. It's really popping. Things are moving there. So I went to Dubai and I was about to take an office job for the first time in my life. At 28, I was like, what do people do sitting at an office? Okay,
Okay.
yeah, let's sign this contract to do, marketing for And One and Skechers. And entertainment found me again. I met this guy who was opening up a TV station, the first TV station to produce its content in English in Dubai.
Mm-hmm.
And I auditioned for him because somebody was like, you have to go and meet this guy. You'd be perfect. And he
Great.
was like, Susie, you're very fantastic. I think that we should be following you 24/7 hours a day. So I want you to do whatever show you want. And that's how I started into television.
Okay, Susie, that's perfect. Has it always been your dream of yours to become a television host?
It's always been my dream to have an audience that I can control their emotions and their reactions, to
Mm-hmm.
almost have the palm of my hands. If I'm really honest, Linda, my first passion is theater. I love live audience. So
Oh,
it's not that, don't tell anyone, I'm not in love with the process of television because it takes a long time to shoot a show. It's
mm-hmm.
not that fun. And the reaction is really just from the people that are holding the camera, the sound guy, making them laugh and be like, that's rewarding. But I do prefer a live audience that I can react with, live time.
You feel the audience, yes.
Yeah.
You're in the Middle East, born and raised in Saudi Arabia. You speak Arabic, English, and French. As a woman, did you have difficulties with your surroundings because you are determined and very ambitious?
Yeah. There are certain parts of my culture, especially growing up in Saudi Arabia, where it's not I wouldn't say it's Islamic, but it's very fundamentalist and strict. I know they identify as Islamic, but I don't think that that's really the core of Islam, the way that people are living there.
Yeah.
So the message I received from a very young age is that I'm not as good as other people. I'm not as good as men. I don't have the same rights. And I am kind of less than men. And that I have a box, and that's the only box that I can fill up. So the message from a young age was not always positive, and I can't say that I loved to be a woman growing up, and that's maybe why I took some masculine things like breakdance and tough stuff to express myself. Sorry, what was your question again, Linda?
No problem. Do you face difficulties in your surroundings because you being so very ambitious and American?
Thank you for reminding me. I think the message I received was to stay quiet and not to express myself and to be not noticed. And unfortunately, what makes my heart vibrate at the best and the fullest is being loud and being on stage and being in theater and all the opposite things that my culture was really telling me is acceptable. So I honestly, Linda, I had to hide my identity. When I was breakdancing, I wore bandanas. I used to try to hide from the newspapers, hide from the TVs. I always wore like a disguise. I had to be dishonest with my parents about where I was going, what I was doing. Most of the shows after my curfew, even though I was 28, I had very strict time to be home at like 11. And a lot of shows sometimes were like late shows or in a club. So I really had to hide my identity. So breakdancing was expressing me and expressing my confusion in life, but I also couldn't show that I was doing it. It even got to the point where my television career became a problem for not my immediate family, but for my extended family. And it's really sad to say, Linda, but you hear about these stories in the news, but I experienced, what I hope very few women experience, but I experienced honor killing, like there was a conversation about, oh, Susie is too wild. Maybe we need to kill her and save the honor of the family and the family name. And I really didn't think I came from a family that's like that, but I had to hide for like a year because I wasn't really sure if my family was going to go through with it or what. This is mostly extended family. They were not happy about my very loud television career. So difficulties, fuck yeah.
Got it. So do you think that US vice candidate Kamala Harris is also a positive sign for women in Africa, in Nigeria, all over the world in general?
I mean, I'm not an African woman and I'm not from Africa and I'm, so I can't speak on the African plight or the African American plight. I can only intellectually deduce from what I'm seeing in social media and what I perceive intellectually that this is a very moving moment for women and for people that are women that are not white. This should be giving hope to women. I can perceive that as true, but I definitely cannot speak as for Nigeria, Africans, or anything like that.
Got it. what does your everyday life look like as a news anchor or television host? Is there a routine or?
Yeah, routine. News, 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 and more news.
Okay. Yeah.
So, my program, my most recent program that I'm anchoring is Arise America. And, you know, the show is at night. So it's kind of like daytime-ish or late afternoon in the West, and it's in the evening here. So I wake up late because my hours are late. I wake up a little bit late and I just start watching the news and seeing what is really top stories and what's breaking. And then I start formulating, you know, and working with my producer, proposing news stories for that evening, which of course could change throughout the day. But, you know, some of the stories, and I also don't want to always, you know, do the stories that everyone else is doing. It would be nice to have like some stories that make you go like, oh, or make you laugh. So I try to mix it up a little bit. But it's just listening to news all day and then starting to work on my research questions, booking the course that I have in London or in DC, and getting familiar with my script.
Okay. Now you live in an African country, Nigeria. How did you come? How did you get there? What connects you with this country?
Very good question. I mean, in one sense, spiritually, I'm connected to this country because since I was a teenager and young adult, I always in my mind envisioned myself in Africa, and I had a vision of myself, and it kept coming back to me. How, where, what, when, I didn't know how, but I just knew that it was in my mind that I was going to be in Africa. How it physically manifested in reality was I was doing television in New York back in from 2008 to 2015. And somebody heard about a TV station getting started here, an international TV station for a very big person in the country. And they recommended that I meet with them because they felt that because I was born and raised in Saudi Arabia, worked in Dubai in television, worked in New York, spoke 3 languages, that I wouldn't be one-dimensional in terms of going to Nigeria and being open and intelligent enough to try to understand and fit in. So they didn't think that I was just a good TV presenter. They also felt that I had enough international experience that I would meld very well. And they were absolutely right.
Okay. So they got the talent and lucky guys. You are also a PR consultant for various companies in Nigeria. How does it look in practice? Are they medium-sized companies or large corporations? And what is your strategy in consulting?
Yeah, well, I mean, some of them are international, like the Fraser Suites is located in like over 80 countries in the world. And a lot of them are like small restaurants and hotels here in the city. And really, when I really love something and believe in it, I want to see it succeed and I want to help it succeed. So I mean, a lot of people will be like, "Oh, are you making commission? Why are you talking so well?" It's because I really believe in it and I want to see it through. So that's really how it started, that people started to say like, "Well, listen, I see you know a lot and I hear how you're speaking to your clientele, I'm happy to give you a commission." And it really was just an organic thing that started.
Wow, you are multi-talent girl. So you have worked, let me take a look at it, at television in United Arab Emirates, in USA, in Nigeria. As a news anchor, you worked as a producer for Sky News Abu Dhabi, at the United Nations in New York, Al Iraqi, or how you call it, Al Iraqi.
Yeah. Don't even try. Al Iraqiya. But in Arabic, you would say Al Iraqiya. But Linda, Al Iraqiya.
Yeah, good. and Nigeria, of course. In entertainment, you worked to have or been seen as a presenter in episodes of Sesame Street. Oh, I love Sesame Street, by the way. On talk shows in Dubai and VJ'd for MTV Europe and Showtime Middle East and entertainment. You interviewed Morgan Freeman, Duran Duran, Tiesto, David Morales, and many more. They say you are the perfect mix of East and West with your background and experience, of course. Was it easy to unite these two worlds and different cultures? I mean,
it's a really good question, Linda, because, you know, once you learn how to harness it, it is an asset. But growing up, you know, you remember all we want to do is we want to fit in, you know, don't want to have curly hair. Everybody has a crush on that guy. You want to have the same crush on that guy. You know, we just really want to fit in until we start to learn to celebrate our differences. Yeah. So I wouldn't say that, you know, growing up in Saudi Arabia, I grew up on an American compound, but I had very Arab parents. So I'm going to school with Americans. My best friends are like Renee, Lindsay, Brad, John. And they're like, yeah, man, let's do this. Let's have a party. Let's wear bikinis. And then I'd be like, Mom, I want to wear a bikini. And she's like, Mama, we don't wear a bikini, you know? And I'm like, Mom, I just got invited. I'm cool enough to go to a party. And she's like, Mama, we don't hang out with boys and girls at 11 at night. And I'm like, wait a second. I feel like I'm like these people. I'm trying to identify with these people. I want to fit in. But whenever I go home, there's something that's telling me that I'm not like them. And so that was really hard. And, you know, women, when we don't feel like we fit in or we have a place, we have a tendency to try to gain control by internalizing things. So some people, they grow to have an eating disorder, or they, you know, start to abuse their bodies in some ways, you know. So I luckily found breakdancing, which was an outlet to try to express my confusion. And it wasn't ballet, doing pirouettes. It was, fuck you, I'm going to kill you, I'm going to slaughter you, I'm going to wipe the floor clean with you, and then I'm going to clean it up and move over, you know?
Strong woman.
And I needed it. I really needed an outlet to get all of this confusion. I'm feeling like these people in these Americans, but I'm being told verbally I'm not. Then my parents moved me to Canada, Montreal, which is a very open European city. So now I'm feeling like these Canadians and fitting in. And again, my parents are reminding me, you're not. So that really confused me until I was able to realize that these two worlds, when they collide, gives me a unique perspective. There's not that many people that have seen that we're just planted in different soils, and that's why we grow differently. But ultimately, we are one. And I witnessed that. I felt it. I can make jokes to Nigerians, and they'll laugh, and I don't even know anything about it. I'll find a way to connect with them where they're like, who is this foreign girl now? And I've done the same thing in the Middle East, and I've done the same thing with my American friends. I somehow have managed to amalgamate all these worlds and find a way to connect with people, no matter from where they are. So yeah, it took a lot of years, but I understand that now I have a power rather than a weakness, is what it's like.
Definitely. Would you say, would you do everything the same again if you had a second chance?
I know I'm not supposed to have regrets. Any sense. And I know that I chose everything. And the reason I chose it is because I'm here and I love where I am. However, if I could have been a little bit more wise and less, I think I had like a belief that I have to struggle in order to be happy. And now my wisdom lets me know that life can be easy and fulfilling at the same time. So if I knew that before, maybe wouldn't have left Dubai so quickly when I was at the top of my career. And maybe I would have had just as much adventure, but more stability had I continued my career there and then been able to branch out. But I understand that sentence makes no sense because I'm exactly where I am supposed to be.
Yeah, that's very wise. Yeah. What advice would you give to all young talents who also want to become a TV presenter, just like you?
Definitely ask yourself why, because everything is about intention behind the action. If you're trying to fill up a gap, if you're trying to fill up darkness, if you're doing it for not the best reasons, then maybe the universe is going to ask you to compromise who you are in order to get there, because it's not really the right intention that you're doing it. So figure out why you want to do it. And then once you know that your intentions are pure, don't give up. Persistence. The only thing that makes somebody good at breaking versus bad at breaking is a difference of practicing. The only difference between someone who makes it in their dream career and someone who doesn't is that person who doesn't gives up when their ego thinks that, oh, I don't think I'm going to get it, so I'm just going to give up. At that moment is when you continue to go on. If you persevere and are persistent, there's nothing that you cannot have. And that is 100% true.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Susie. You're was very nice listening to you, and I hope to see you soon again, maybe one day in Nigeria or
anywhere in the world, Linda. I would be honored to cross paths with you, and I am really, really honored that you took the time to speak with me. I loved that you reached out. And I loved your curiosity, and it's really a blessing to have had this conversation with you.
Thank you so much. Talk to you soon. Bye, Susie.